Hello and welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. As 2025 continues to whistle by at a blistering pace, I thought I would pause for a moment to take stock and catch up on some interesting bits of news. Well, I say news, some of this stuff has been kicking around for a while, I just haven't had the opportunity to talk about it yet. First things first, there are a few crowdfunding campaigns to talk about. Most interesting of which, for me at least, is Don't Look Back from Blacksite Studios. Don't Look Back is a horror-themed miniatures game inspired by classic horror movies. If you ever wanted to take on the role of a group of kids at a summer camp being chased down by a masked serial killer, this is the game for you. Anyone who knows me and my love of all things horror will not be surprised to hear I have wanted to get this game for the longest time. It's so far up my street, it's already murdered the babysitter next door. But I'm based in the UK and Blacksite Studios is a small company that doesn't have the kind of international distribution that makes it easy to get their products. Their games and expansions are generally quite expensive due to economies of scale, and shipping to the UK is prohibitive. But right now, Don't Look Back is on Gamefound, and I will include a link to it in the video description below for information purposes. The campaign is offering a new and revised core set, containing quick start rules, a selection of card terrain to make it easier to create a campsite on your tabletop, PVC miniatures and all of the cards, tokens and dice required. It is possible to pledge for just this core set, but there is also a bundle that includes the Facility 86 expansion and a card expansion for the summer camp setting. And naturally, as the campaign is chugging along, various stretch goals are going to be unlocked. For this campaign, UK-based pledges will be shipped from within the UK, so this is a perfect chance for me to pick up a game I have wanted for a long time at a lower price point, while circumventing the massive shipping costs. As such, I will be backing the campaign for the core set plus the Facility 86 expansion and extras. However, I am already being tempted by the many expansions that are also available during the crowdfunding campaign. These expansions are made in small batches and the prices are rather eye-watering. £35 for 3 miniatures and 3 cards is pushing it for my hobby budget. But there are a few things that have really got my wallet itchy, and maybe anybody who already owns Don't Look Back can weigh in the comments section with their opinions to help me to decide what to buy. I am particularly interested in the hardback rulesbook. It's a steep buy-in at £40, but I am a sucker for quality hardback gamebooks, and I know it contains a lot more content and additional rules compared to the quick start rules in the new core box, including extra scenarios and character creation. How do people feel about this book in general? Is it considered an essential component to get the most out of the system? Also, as much as I love a good classic slasher movie, I am really drawn to gothic horror, so I am attracted to the expansion book 1698 and the companion pack 1698 The Founding, which relocates the game to an earlier time period, introducing various period-accurate rules. It's very tempting. I have lots to think about before the campaign closes. Also on Gamefound is a pre-order from Steamforged Games, Six Siege, the board game. Six Siege was originally published by Mythic Games, a company in financial crisis, whose failures have led to the non-delivery of a significant quantity of crowdfunding projects. Recently, they have been forced to lay off most of their staff and sell off their IPs. And only in February of this year they announced they would not be able to deliver their $1.3 million Monsterpocalypse Kickstarter, with all of the files and rights returning to the IP holder Privateer Press. It's a crappy situation that sucks for everyone involved. A lot of the backers for the original Six Siege crowdfunding campaign were left out of pocket. And for them there is good news and bad news. The bad news is, Steamforged Games have acquired the rights to publish Six Siege, but they have not taken over Mythic's original campaign. That means they aren't on the hook to deliver any outstanding rewards. The good news is, if you head over to their Gamefound pre-order page for the reprint and refer to the FAQs, there is a section dedicated to previous backers with a way to get discounted bundles on reprinted items. It requires backers to fill in an online form by the 21st of March 2025, so if you think this applies to you, it's worth heading over there as soon as possible. You can also get in contact with Steamforged Games support team to discuss your particular situation. Moving across to Kickstarter next, and I want to briefly mention a campaign that will be entering the final stretch round about when this video goes live. It's the Mantic Games Board Games Advent Calendar crowdfunding campaign. Again, I will drop a link in the video description below. I wanted to mention this campaign only because in December of 2024, I ran a series on my channel where I opened the Mantic Games Deep Space Pest Control calendar every day, and I thought some people who watched that series might be interested in checking out the Kickstarter. The idea with these calendars is that each day throughout December you open one door, which will contain a plastic miniature, some dice, or some tokens. Over the course of the month, you accumulate all of the components necessary to play a board game. My opinions were somewhat mixed, but to summarise my thoughts, it was quite fun to have something to open every day, but overall I felt it was just a bit random. The contents of the calendar didn't create a cohesive game experience and often felt like they were just thrown in because that's what Mantic had to hand. And indeed, the game you were eventually able to play wasn't particularly strong. I loved the idea though. I really think Mantic are onto something with it, but the particular calendar I opened didn't stick the landing. And the other calendar that was also available in 2024, Barroom Brawl, didn't impress me that much from what I saw of other content creators reviewing it either. Both of the 2024 offerings are now being crowdfunded on Kickstarter, along with 2 more additions to the range, one based on Worms and one based on The Walking Dead. These new calendars seem to be following the same approach as the earlier ones, with components behind each door that culminate in a complete gaming experience on the last day. And if you back for all 4 calendars, you get a 5th terrain crate calendar containing furniture elements that would be useful in any dungeon setting. This is a campaign I will not be backing. As I said, I think gaming calendars are a great idea, but the way Mantic has approached them didn't quite work for me personally. And after my series last year, I said the idea would need an overhaul before I would consider getting another one. However, other people seem to enjoy them much more than I did, so if you know some gamers who are bored getting rubbish chocolate in their advent calendars, this could be a cool alternative for them over the festive period. Moving away from crowdfunding now, I wanted to talk about Moonstone and Goblin King Games. I know, I talk about them a lot on the channel, but Moonstone is such a good game and Goblin King Games is such a good company, and they have just announced something that reinforces how good they really are. When Goblin King Games released the Arising supplement, they introduced campaign rules. In order to use those rules, you needed a set of special cards called the campaign deck. It contained upgrades and bonuses that you could use to customise your troop as the campaign progressed, or which you could use in any game to mix things up and add interesting narrative elements. At the time the deck was created, there were only 3 factions in the game, but since then Goblin King Games have introduced the Shades of Moonreach. That being the case, when the print run for the campaign deck ran out, they didn't reprint it, but instead made it free to download online. Subsequently, they devised new cards for the Shades of Moonreach, and now those cards are free to download too. But it doesn't end there. Not everyone likes to print and play, so Goblin King Games are next planning to make a limited one-time run of the Shades of Moonreach campaign cards, using the exact specifications of the existing campaign deck. This should be available around mid-April direct from their web store. This gives players who already have the campaign deck a chance to buy the new cards in a format that is compatible with what they already have. Following that, Goblin King Games are planning to make a version 2 campaign deck, including all of the old and new cards, and they are going to use a slightly cheaper card stock so they can try to price match the new larger deck with the older one. The version 2 deck will then go into regular retail channels with wider distribution. That is the sort of thing that makes me want to support Goblin King Games in everything they do, because I know they are doing everything they can to support their players. As always, you will find a link in the video description so you can check out the press release for yourself and download the cards right now. And that's about going to do it for this video. Of course, this is not the only news in the board gaming world right now, it's just the stuff that has caught my eye for one reason or another, which I felt I wanted to talk about and share. Now, when's that Wizards of Morcar expansion for HeroQuest coming out? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.